And let's talk about now this with Elizabeth Harrington. She's a staff writer for the Washington Free Beacon. Betsy Woodruff is here, a political reporter for the Daily Beast. Good to see both of you.
You too. Thanks for having us.
Okay. You know, Betsy, I want to start with you. Let's talk about the politics of the pipeline scrap. And do you make anything, is there anything to be made of the president's timing on this?
You know, what's interesting to me about this entire debate is the fact that we've kind of seen more powerful Democratic figures follow Bernie Sanders' lead on this issue. He was very much out front opposing the authorization of the construction of the Keystone pipeline. It was something he brought up months ago when he was trying to distinguish himself from Hillary Clinton. Then a few months after that happened, Clinton went public and said, oh, me too, I'm also against it. And now we have Obama kind of stepping in line. So it's an interesting example of the Democratic Party just kind of doubling down on this. I mean, not necessarily anti-energy as that sort of divisive rhetoric, but kind of doubling down on this idea of pushing for energy policies that align more with the left wing of their base than perhaps with more moderate voters.
Elizabeth, how do you see it?
I see it as when President Obama said this was an extensive process, I think he was right. I mean, 7 years in the making. I think this went on way too long. I think it was clear that the State Department and the Obama administration kicked this off past the 2012 election because they were really put in a hard position. You know, you had to choose between unions who wanted this pipeline and environmentalists who didn't. So they push us back. I mean, it's really been too long in the making. And now when you had TransCanada asking for a delay, hoping that a new administration would come in next year or in 2017 and approve it, Obama just wants to write it off. He's a lame duck and is saying we're not going to do it, and finally is rejecting it.
So, Betsy, is that a legitimate viewpoint or perhaps naive and simplistic?
I think that's a totally fair way of approaching this. And what's interesting, too, about this particular pipeline is how significant it was just symbolically for the environmental movement. This was kind of a rally cry for many activists who are concerned about climate change. I remember a massive protest in D.C. about 2 weeks ago that stopped traffic all over the city, just protesters pushing back against this pipeline. So just the level of excitement in terms of the Democratic base and left activists who are opposed to this pipeline is really hard to overstate, perhaps. So it's a huge win for them, and there hasn't really been a corresponding pro-pipeline pushback on the right.
So
the politics for Democrats are helpful.
Now that this is on the table, though, which candidates out there on the presidential campaign trail will be able to use this to his or her advantage?
Well, I think Republicans will be able to use it to their advantage because now President Obama and Hillary Clinton is tied to this decision. They can, push back hard on it. A lot of them have, made the case that this is a job-creating project. And look, they'll say that Democrats are just kowtowing to those far-left environmentalist groups. So I think Republicans will definitely not stop talking about it, and they'll say, look, this is how far left the Democratic Party has gone.
So then will Hillary use it and say, hey, see, look, I was right?
I mean, Hillary's good. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No,
Betsy.
you stay with you, Elizabeth. Continue.
Oh, sure. I think Hillary will definitely, I mean, she's had to tie herself to a lot of President Obama's decisions. You've seen it with Obamacare, and now with Keystone, was really forced to come out because she had not made a decision either. Now she'll say, look, I'm with the administration. This is what we did. This is smart, and, moving forward, she gets this issue off the table.
Betsy, you get the last word. Go ahead.
I think it's going to definitely give Republicans who are running for president a great opportunity to contrast themselves with Democrats. I think we can expect to hear these 2016 candidates say the Democratic Party has moved to the left, they've gone too far, they're focusing on the environment over jobs and economics, and I think that's something that's absolutely going to be coming up over and over the course of the coming months.
We leave it there. Betsy Woodruff and Elizabeth Harrington. Elizabeth, I wasn't calling you naive and simplistic, by the way, just to be
good,
clear.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, thanks.